It's December the 22nd, 2025, and I had a feeling that I needed to connect with my guides. And immediately, as I tried to even get the date out, the letters were all jumbled and numbers. It was crazy. I said, wow, team, that's crazy. How did I get the dates screwed up like that? They just seem to jump around all the time. And they said, yes, dear one, the energy is like that at the moment. Let us just say that there are those who are trying to manipulate the orchestra, pull the strings literally, trying to change the harmonics in order to destabilize the harmony. Oh, okay, so please share with us what's going on. Well, we spoke of the quickening, and this is a time for concentration, of watching one's words and who you are at this moment in time. Are you watching your words? Or are you going through your days at such a pace that you're not pacing yourselves? When texting, you can delete a sentence, a word, a paragraph. But how does one do this once the words have come from your mouths? If your mouth was a device, you would be able to erase the words. For when you do this on a device, you have time to think. Shall I send my message this way? But we ask, how does one do this when it has been spoken and it comes from one's mouthpiece? Will there be peace after one has spoken? And so we say we started this communication with you today by allowing many spelling mistakes as you typed our words, and you were able to go back and erase them and rewrite them. So we would like you all to think through your words before you share them with another. For remember, whatever you give, be it words or anything else, is the gift that you will receive in return. So what is it that you are then gifting yourself? And this is where you have the power to have peace in your lives or not. This is your choice. So what is it that you choose? And equally, when one speaks to you and it is not pleasing to your ears, what is it that you choose to say in response? Do you smile and say nothing and just take the time to think? Or do you say, these are your words, not mine, and just give them back in the moment? This way, you will not carry the vibration within your 3D or your energy system. We say many humans are false polite. They are false with their politeness, as they are not speaking their truth. They say yes when they mean no. Is this not a falsehood? For they have been taught this is polite. But what is it to be polite? Does one become polite at the expense of oneself? It is now what is termed the festive season, a time for giving, and so we ask the question, what gift will you be bestowing upon yourself? Will it be the gift of pausing before you speak? There are many gifts like these that one can choose. So what is it, dear ones, that your energy fields could be uplifted by? This is your gift to yourself. Well, as you were talking to me, I became quite overwhelmed with sadness. And they showed me all the visions that I saw yesterday. I was lying out on my daybed, just enjoying the soft sunlight. And suddenly all these animals started coming through me. So many different animals, from wild bears to fox to lion to squirrels, to dogs, to absolutely everything. And all of them were bathed in the same light. It was sort of like a mixture of golden light and sepia, almost like they were ancient animals. And they came up so close and they all had such piercing eyes. They just pierced right through me. And I didn't know why I was being shown those animals.
Allow yourself to be in that place in which all of the animals are coming to you.
Mm.
And look at yourself. Notice what is around you that is attracting these animals.
It's a place of refuge. It's a place of peace. And they're using the word the Garden of Eden. And they're huge trees, and they're using the word the bio. If anybody knows what the bio is, where they're like tendrils hanging out of the trees, just going all the way down to the ground like curtains. And the vegetation is very, very deep. It's it's very old. It's not a modern vegetation at all,
What's the
but
difference in this vegetation?
it's original.
Mm-hmm.
It's the original code. It's the encoding of Earth in its very first format. And they're telling me that I know that we are now on Terra 1, Terra. We are now on Terra 3, and that was Terra 1.
Mm-hmm.
And they're talking about a firmament and how everything is being blended. And the animals had nothing to fear because the humans were interacting with them. There was no um, need for death. They didn't need to kill the animals to live or survive or to use for clothing or for shoes, for anything like that. There was complete telepathy between the animals and them, and they said it has changed so much. The vibrations, the harmonics have been so disturbed and so distorted that that era is of a bygone time.
So if we are in Terra 3, what would Terra 4 be like?
Well, they're telling me it's almost like they would press rewind and go back to Terra 1, into the beauty, into the simplicity, into the peace, into the tranquility, into the telepathic communications. There would be no need to prove anything, to attain anything. There would be no greed. There would be no grievous bodily harm because all are working in unity. And they're telling me that because it belongs to one harmonic chord, it's like a tone that everybody vibrates to, so that there is no discord. But they said that a discord has been introduced, that the harmonics have been changed. And so the tones have changed so drastically. So they're showing me like waves, whereas before it was just like a gentle hum. Now they're huge dips and distortion. And that's why there's such a break in communication with the souls on earth. It's almost like so many of them have broken the communication even within, that they struggle to hold a Holy Communion with themselves, let alone a civil conversation or communication with another. And they said this is the thing that is lacking the most on earth, is the art of communication. Just look at the people in all the communities and the politicians. Look how they are now losing their ground, where there is dissent within the people. Look at the different areas that are now beginning to collapse because the people have not used their voices. They have forgotten that their voices lie within their own voice box. And now they are blaming those that are in power for the distortion. And yet they are the ones that have lost their power by handing over their power to those that they've placed on pedestals. But we told this one when she was in Egypt to bring back the balance. It is time to bring back the balance, for the balance has been lost. Terror 1, Terror 2, Terror 3. And it is time for humanity to recognize their tone, to listen to their tone, and to listen to the tones of others and see, is that tone pleasing to them? And if it is, it'll fall like a softness within. But for the tones that disagree with their system, there will be a jarring. And so we say, it is time for humanity to press pause, for they are not pausing even between breaths. Everything is at such a pace that they do not hear themselves, let alone another.
When we talk about harmonics, we talk about the waves. I'm thinking about a tuning fork and how a tuning fork can change the frequency of a room, of a body, of water. Is there anything that is being done from the invisible realm to send a frequency that is changing the vibration, the harmonics?
She smiles, for she's just remembered what we told her in her dream last night. As we showed her a force, call it a force, call it energy, call it wave formation, and we're showing her the picture of a very large bullet. If you watch a James Bond film and the bullet comes out of a gun and they slow it down, slow motion, and you can see the bullet piercing the air. And when they really, really slow it down, do you not see all the waves around the bullet? And it is the force, the projection coming through from the bullet that is on an energetic trajectory. And so you have a force that is coming into your solar system. And many at the moment are questioning what it is that is visiting this area. Will it be harmful? Will it be for humanity's good? And we told her it is humanity that has come back to visit itself. In an ancient time, when they knew they would need their own help once again. For this is a turning point for humanity. This is the time of the quickening. Time is quickening. For those that are in control, we call them the puppet masters. Their strings are getting very tangled. They are not able to maneuver the puppets in the way that they once could. For the puppets are becoming aware and awake. They are not limp anymore. Think of it as a doll that a child gets to play with, and suddenly that limp doll becomes animated. Humanity is now becoming animated with this ancient energy that is themselves in a different form, has come for humanity's upliftment. And as they are uplifted, those animated dolls' eyes will open. And when the eyes open, they will see what many of you have been seeing, but were unable to communicate to them. For their eyes could not see what your eyes, your inner eyes, have been seeing. So that is why we term this time of the quickening as the great awakening. For when one sleeps, one's eyes are closed. But when one is awake, one's eyes open. So the distortions have been specifically manipulated to distort through various harmonic machines, devices. But more and more know about these now, and more are going within, taking time to pause, to breathe, to think, to plan. And as they go within, they have a conversation with their cells. How are the cells going to reverberate to what comes next? For you are all due for a great unveiling. Many will be shocked by this, but it is time.
I'd like to get back to the ancient ones. Were those the ones living on Terra 1?
No, before Terra 1.
Before Terra 1.
Before this earth was formed.
Okay. So those are humans.
No, the formless ones.
Okay. And what is it that they're doing? What is their idea of coming back?
Well, you see, Alba, there are many planets, there are many galaxies. Earth is a very young planet. Did we not say she is small and she was a substation? And so she has been like a kindergarten child, hosting many human forms But the formless ones formed her for this beautiful experiment called Eden. For this is a living library studied by many other formless ones. So the formless ones that formed this planet and the inhabitants knew that the time would come where the children needed to grow up and leave the playpen and leave this earth into new dimensions, new structures, new forms. But this planet needs to graduate. And in order for that to happen, the ones that formed her are coming back to help her with her graduation. And in order for the graduation to take place, there has to be an upliftment. For if you want things to rise, they have to be light. We have spoken of this many times. A balloon will not rise unless you fill it with air, not so.
Correct.
Otherwise, it will just lie flat and dormant, and it won't do what it is that a balloon does, which is take off and have liftoff. And this planet and its inhabitants are ready for ascension. This is what they came for the ascension. But in order to ascend, one has to lighten up and help Gaia with the load. And so we are working in conjunction with our baby Gaia in order for her graduation to go as smoothly as possible. There was Terra 1, there was Terra 2, there was Terra 3, and Terra 4 is currently forming. It is what is termed a beautiful paradise, where we bring back the harmony, but in a different version, in a deeper version, and although deeper, much lighter substance. It is evolution, Alba, nothing more but evolution.
Will there be humanity on this new Terra 4?
There will be, but in a different way, in a lighter version.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Well, the density that you have now is through the dense thoughts that you carry. For humanity could be living much longer than what they currently live, but they live carrying and dragging so much baggage around, so much blame, so much victimhood, so much terror. So many are taught to hate another and not to live in harmony, and also to hate themselves. They are always being taught that they are not good enough, not tall enough, not thin enough, not beautiful enough, not rich enough. There's always not enough. They are always taught you are not enough. And yet they were always born perfect in whatever form they came out in. A bigger nose, a smaller nose, longer hair, thinner hair, longer arms, shorter fingers. This is how they were formed. And yet they are taught to judge one another, and so they judge themselves, and so they carry heavy loads. We always speak about the baggage that they carry, and we always speak about being a light traveler, for you are a light being. You are beings of light, but many of you are not light beings. You forget that you are light, so you become heavy travelers. You become heavy earth walkers. But we have now taught this one the feather path to teach others the way of the feather. For feathers belong in wings, do they not?
Yes.
And wings are made to fly. And how do you take a lift off unless you have balance, unless you have some thermal, unless you can fly? You are then earthbound. And yet all of you can take the feather path and be the lighter and lightest version of yourselves. And yet you keep on making choices that are detrimental to your very beings. You know, we look at the circle, it's like a vicious cycle where there are those that are in charge of the foodstuffs, which they call food, which is your fuel. But is it fueling you, Alba?
It's very
But,
empty. No.
but then how many of you humans are awake? Have you got your eyes open? Can you not read a label? And if food has to be labeled, is it food? If a food has to be stored for many days in a fridge to be kept fresh, is this food? What are you eating? Do you even know how your system works? Do you know every organ in your body? Do you know what each organ does? Do you know what they need in order for optimum health? So, how can you be a human and be given the gift of life and tread on this earth lightly unless you are awake and aware, and more importantly, honor the vessel that you've been given? So, Alba, we would like to ask you and to ask the viewers, why are they not honoring their vessels to the absolute utmost? For their vessels are going to be with them until they take their last breath. So if they want to have a filled life, they can only do so with the way they look after their vessels. You know, there are many on earth that are termed paralyzed or injured in different ways. And if you had to speak to any of them and ask them if they could walk again, would they treat their bodies differently? And I don't think you would hear any of them saying, no, I would eat cake and cookies and soda and popcorn and chocolates all day long. They would say we would walk, we would run, we would swim, we would play, we would breathe in the air, we would lie on the grass, we would swim in the sea. And yet the able-bodied people can do all those things, and yet they choose to sit inside, play their video games, watch what you call movies of death and destruction, talk to their friends over their devices, not belly to belly, but over their devices, and get more and more distracted and disconnected. It is time for change. And what needs to change, Alba, in order for change to happen?
You tell me.
Well, this is about self-communication and being self-aware. And we woke this one up just before Thanksgiving with the word willpower. And we asked her to split it down the middle. And it became will and power. And we said all humans have will and all humans have power. But nothing will happen until those two words align. And then there is willpower, which is so strong, because otherwise you've just got the will to do something or to want something, and it's just hanging around. And you've got the power, but it is powerless, less power without the will. And those two have to ignite. And that happens, Alba, when we told her that you are the gardeners of your life and you have 12 pieces of land, 12 magic squares that need to be nurtured and looked after. And the very first square on the feather path is self-esteem. For once you have self-esteem, anything is possible. But this square, this magic square, has been so unattended. So many are waiting to be defined by others instead of them defining themselves. They look at the televisions, they look at the magazines, they look at the fashion houses, they look at everything outside of themselves to decide how they should be. And yet, if you went into a jungle, into a tribe, they just are. They embrace each other, they have their personalities. They love each other for the difference in the personalities. And they wear the bare minimum, but they all wear the same. Although one might find 3 different leaves and twine it in a different way in their own little design. That is how they express themselves. And yet, suddenly you have so many humans, mostly females, who are always taught that they have to look a certain way to attract the male. And then they pump chemicals into their lips until they start looking like fish and not humans. They start enlarging their breasts. They start literally deforming themselves, not forming, but deforming. And we say this is through lack of self-esteem. For they were perfect just the way they were, and yet they judge themselves so heavily. And yet, who are the ones that are selling the products to these humans who have low self-esteem? They care not for the human, but they care for their bank balances. So when are these beautiful humans going to wake up to themselves and realize that they do not have to be artificial, but just authentically themselves? How did their mothers and their grandmothers and their great-grandmothers ever get a mate without Botox? Have they ever thought of this? Why they think so little of themselves?
Yes, it's definitely been rampant. So if self-esteem is the number one, what else needs to be done in order to change our frequency, to change our vibration, to become lighter?
We need the gatherings. We would like to see gatherings of women's circles, and we would like to see gatherings of men's circles. And we would like for the women to honestly and openly communicate exactly what it is they really, really need and want. For most humanity and humans want peace, they want tranquility, they want personal growth, they want expansion, they want new experiences, they want a home, they want a mate, they want comfort, a bed, warmth, food, friendship, family. And then the men, what do the men need? They want to be secure in having a job in order to help and provide for the family that they want. And they want adventure, and they want an adventure.
Would you
And
repeat
then
that? Would you repeat that, please? We lost that sentence about
we
wanting
say
adventure.
we
Adventure.
say that many men like adventure and are often more adventurous than women, and they would like to have a mate on their adventure because we say it is always more fun when one has someone to share their adventures with. So, yes, Alba.
Yeah. What do you say about all of the men who are lost into their TV shows, their sports, where they're not living their life? They're living their life through entertainment themselves. Because that is an adventure watching their sports team every week, but they're not taking it beyond their living room.
And conceived means to make and to build. And humanity has been purposely.
I'm going to repeat that. Humanity has been purposefully, and we've lost your connection.
To distort their bodies are deregulating the feminine. So the feminine and the masculine have become so unbalanced. And that's why we say to bring back the balance of the basics. So when one is distorted, one is more easy to manipulate because one is so unsure of oneself. But it is like we are showing this one roots coming out of the ground. Humanity needs to get back to their roots, to the basics. But we have spoken of the great leveler,
Yes.
and there's a time that is coming that you will return to basics. So we say, when the trappings are removed, when the Botox is no longer available, when the hair dye is no longer available, when the implants are no longer available, and the fast cars and the false eyelashes, when all those have been taken away, what will remain, Alba? The essence of the person, the authenticity of the person. For when you have a Christmas tree and your Christmas time is soon, and you decorate that Christmas tree filled with shine and bling and lights and decorations, when you take it all away, is it still not a tree?
It's beautiful.
And does it not smell good, those pine needles?
Beautiful, yes. Mm-hmm.
So it is still a tree and it still has its function. And that is what we are trying to convey for humanity. When did the female population ever learn that they were not beautiful just as they are? Is it not a time for new teachings, for young girls who will become mothers, to teach them about self-love,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
about nature, the natural way of things, about simple conversations, the joy of conversations? You know, there's always such excitement on a first date, Alba, for one needs to find out about the other. But when has one dated oneself? We have spoken about this before. What is it that you truly love that you are not doing? Where are you holding yourself back? And yesterday, we shared a living transmission with you, Alba, and the Rainbow Warriors
Yes.
about the voice piece,
Mm-hmm.
your mouthpiece. And when it comes out, is it creating peace or friction? And once your words come out, Alba, can you put them back? It's like toothpaste in a tube. Once you squeeze that toothpaste out, Alba, can you get it back?
It's very difficult.
And isn't it messy?
It sure is.
Right. So once again, we come back to communication, do we
Mm-hmm.
not?
Yes.
You know, the art of communication. Who is teaching communication, Alba?
The entertainment business, the schools,
And how do they teach it?
not very well.
Right. So we spoke yesterday about politeness and false politeness,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what we wish to speak about today. Why do people say yes when they mean no?
Is that a question?
It is.
And they're afraid of disappointing the other, perhaps?
What will happen if they disappoint the other?
Well, you're giving away your power. That's how I see it.
Right, tell us more, Alba.
How about giving away your power?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, when you say yes to something and you don't want to actually do it, you've deflated yourself. You've given them your power.
So why would one do this?
It's training, it's indoctrination.
Right. So where are the mothers and the fathers to teach their fledglings, their little birds,
Yeah, they've
how
been
wonderful they
indoctrinated too.
are? And they have. And that is because they've been asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we say it's time to wake up. And that's why we bring in the word will again and the word power. Where is the will to change the system? Where is the will to be able to take the time, Alba, the time. And time is your love, and that is your life. So you have to take time for the love of your life and speak gently to those in your life and tell them how wonderful they are. From a very young age, you have a new granddaughter, do you not?
Yes.
What will she be taught?
She's in a pretty good environment. I'll say that.
She has you, Alba.
Mm-hmm.
She has the love of her parents and her grandparents. But Alba, you hold great wisdom, for you understand the terms will and power,
Mm-hmm.
and the necessity of the alignment. For when you have alignment, you have balance. And we wish for humans to become more balanced. Alba, we would like you in this one to hold a webinar on balance and power and the masculine and the feminine, and to find out what it is they need. Where are they lacking? What is happening with the self-esteem? Now, this one put on what is termed a pilot launch just before Thanksgiving on the Feather Path. And there was a young participant on that pilot launch. And we are going to use this as an example of power and leakage and upbringing. And that particularly beautiful soul had what is called a very traumatic childhood. And so she held the trauma inside. And so the lack of self was large, for she did not have the teachers to teach her that she was special, how wonderful she was. And therefore she grew up with a self of lack. So she was so proud of herself when recently a man said something that was disparaging. She found it disparaging, and she found her voice. And she told him how offended she was with what he had said to her. And how many people feel that that is so brave when you find your voice. However, that man, to have said something disparaging to her, had a lack of self. And we go back to Terra 1 in the Garden of Eden, where there was no disparagement, for there was harmony. And how she reacted? She told him how offended she was by his words. And I said to her, this one said to her, "Did you thank him?" And she was confused. Why would she thank him for saying something so offensive? And this one said to her, "But he does not define who you are. So why would his words be offensive to you unless you found them to be truthful?" And what he has done, he has given you a gift, because he has shown you what area you have not mastered yet. For remember, you all came to earth to be earth masters, or is earth mastering you? So therefore, she was leaking power. She was handing power over to him. For those were his words, those were not her words. And yet he tried to demean her in order to make himself feel better. But if she thanked him, he would have been confused. She would have been the master of the situation. And this is what we wish to teach humanity, how to step back into their power, how to stop the leakage, how to have a feather path, how to rise above. For the lightness rises above. And when you rise above, you look at the situation and it becomes humorous, Alba. And then you smile. And when you smile, you have expansion and your cells are lighter. And then those that have lightened themselves up are attracted to your lightness. And so your life improves through self-observation and self-expansion. And this is a time of the quickening. And it is imperative, Alba, for people to know themselves so that they rise above through these troubled times. So they see the manipulation, so they see the deceit, and they don't get sucked into it. So they get to know themselves. And so they align with their will and their power, and they become strong, authentic beings of light. It is time for the teachings, Alba. It is time.
Thank you. I have a question regarding the guides telling Jill that she should be looking back at the discourse once again. There are many people who are new to my channel, are new to Jill, and it's been quite a few years since we did this. We put out that book with so many teachings. Why is it that the guides now are once again asking Jill to look over the material, to read it? What's going on?
For she needed to remember who she is, or she had forgotten. She'd forgotten what she came for. For we told her that she is our emissary, our ambassador, that she came to remind people of who or what they are, why they live, and who they live for, Alba. The discourse means to communicate, to hold a discourse, a communication. And have we not been speaking about communication today?
Sure have. Mm-hmm.
We want this discourse to grow far and wide. And as you say, there are many newbies on your channel who are discovering who they are. And we wish for this to accelerate. For the time of the quickening is upon us. Time is of the essence. There was much wisdom in those chapters, and we wish for many loads to be lightened with the words that we shared through that time. But the harmonics are changing. People are waking up, but although they are waking up, Alba, they don't have guidance. They are awake, but they don't know the path. They are looking. They are searching. This one's accountant just last week said to her out of the blue, "Oh, I know that the last time we spoke, you took a trip to Egypt. What happened?" And this was an accountant, a man that just does figures all day long, but he was intrigued. And so she shared with him a few of the magical moments, and he was even more intrigued. And he said, I've heard that there's a word called a channel. What is a channel? So you see, Alba, people are ready to learn. And what is it that they want? They want expansion. They want to experience themselves. They are the biggest expansion that they know. And you and this one will just say to them, look, there's a switch. There's the little switch just there. For they have it inside. They all have it inside. For did they not come from the formless ones? And the formless ones are back, looking in at the kindergarten, sending down packets of light, new photons. There will be many, many, many seeds that will be harvested, Alba. It will be a great harvest. And it will be,
Would you explain that, please?
well, this is a fight, a war for the souls of humanity. We have said
Yes.
this before.
Yes.
And we said that you and this one were planting many seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And many of those seeds from 5 years ago, Alba, are now what we term awake and aware.
Yes.
They are doing the archaeological dig internally. They are finding out who they are. They are finding their voices. They are communicating with their guides. They are reaching and teaching many others through your words, through this one's words, through all those that have been on your platform. For many are sharing their experiences. So there has been a great harvest, for they have opened up. Those seeds have opened up and they've blossomed. But there are many new seeds that are waiting to open. And we wish for many harvests, for the more that open up, the lighter the ascension will be for all.
Is it meant for all humanity to awaken, or will some always remain asleep?
There will be those that are not ready with the new energy. And there will be what we term the background people, the fillers, the backdrop,
Yes.
that are always there, that play their parts. And they will go on their path in their own time. And it is not for you or this one to tell anyone else to wake up. Those that hear our words through this one will wake up because they have brought themselves to your channel, not so.
Correct.
So when you have humans that try and ram down another human's throat or blast their eardrums with their message, with their salvation, then this is ego. But when there are those humans that look at another and think, there's something different about that one, or how has this one got her act together as such? They will start to ask questions. And that is the way of the path.
This war that we talk about, the souls of humanity, I know that there's a lot of talk about disclosure, and that seems to be something that is keeping people in fear, in fighting amongst themselves, things like that. Would you talk a little bit about that? Is that part of the discussion?
Yes, we spoke to her earlier today. We showed her pictures of a place called Israel and a place called Gaza. And we showed her the recent killings in a place called Australia in Bondi. And then we showed her Thailand and Cambodia. And then we showed her how the Rohingya are looking for refuge in Pakistan. And there is much that is going on at Earth at the moment because the crescendo always comes at the end, Alba. And we told you many years ago that those that are pulling the strings have got so much rope that they are hanging each other, let alone themselves. But when things build up and build up, it builds up to the crescendo, and they are throwing everything at it. You can expect more disruption, more false flags, more what you term black ops. Not everything is as it seems. They are pitting one against the other. They are wanting to divide, because when you are divided, you are not as strong as when you are united. And that's why we took you to Terra One, when all were united and there was harmony and there was no need for any grievances because everything was aligned. But what they have done now, they have broken your will and your power, and they are trying to keep it separate because they know that when your willpower becomes aligned, it is really, really strong, and they have lost. So more people, more humans are waking up to who they are, and they are seeing through the subterfuge. They are seeing that it is nothing but a huge script, a big movie that is playing, and all the parts and the dramas are all playing out. So when they can see that they are being played, they will not get as embroiled in it. There won't be the fear. And one has to ask oneself, what is one fearful, full of fear for? For we say this over and over. This is one adventure of one lifetime. You all have a use-by date. You have decided your use-by date before you incarnated. You have decided who will be playing on and in your film script. And you are the script writer. So you can change the script at any time. And don't forget to call in the light. So when she was in Egypt, we showed her in a temple, all the initiates lying on the temple floor, all in their white robes. And we showed her the light coming through the ceiling, the beautiful tube of light with a golden ring, tube of light, golden ring, tube of light, and then like a chandelier of light at the bottom, calling in the light. And what does it mean to call in the light? We are the light. You are the light. We are one. Anybody can call in the light. That is where your help comes from. It comes from Source, for you are part of Source. You are never separate, and yet you are being taught to be separated. That one is to be feared. That one is to be feared. That one lives over there. That is a different color to us. That has to be feared. That is a different religion. Fear, 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 fear. Separation, division, separation, division. And yet you are all one. So call in the light. Let it come through your crown chakras, all the way through. Let it fill your cells. Ask your guides to come in. Ask to see. Ask for your third eye to open your inner sight. Sit quietly. Take a pause. Speak to those that you love. Communicate, 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 but communicate with the light. It is time for the quickening. We want you now to be quick, wake up, be aware, and
Good.
start loving yourselves. For you are love, and you come from love, and you will leave in love, and you will leave to love.
Good. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that we haven't covered?
I think, Alba, we have covered everything. I think that humanity will now realize they have will and they have power and they have a choice. Do they wish to align their will and their power? And what is it that they wish to have, to be, and to do?
Good. Who have I been speaking with today?
Today, this is the collective. This is Dominus. This is Aurelius. This is Jesus. This is Urca. This is Archangel Michael and the 12 disciples.
Quite a team. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate everything you've done. And if we are complete, I'd like for you to go ahead and just take a deep breath for me and feel yourself becoming grounded in your body once again. Welcome back.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How did that feel?
They felt firm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they just, wow, Terra 1 was beautiful.
I bet. I bet.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like the people that were there were floating off, like about that far off the ground, just, just, just floating and glowing.
Wow. It's amazing.
Mm.
So, Jill, is there any way that people can get a hold of you and do this feather path with you?
Well, they can. I'm busy. I've done the pilot launch. Thanks, Alba. I've done the pilot launch, and in January, I'm going to be doing each module.
Module. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm going to sell each module separately and very cheaply so that those people that need it the most will be able to afford it. But Alba, they're telling me right now that there are those that are listening today that need to know about your Melbourne gathering and the workshop that you and Antonio are doing
Okay.
in Melbourne, because there will be some that will be able to attend that didn't know about it. So they've
Okay.
just
Terrific.
told me now for you to let them know.
Wonderful. And I'll put the information on the screen and in the details. But I
Yes.
would like for them to get some more information. Where can they contact you to sign up for this course that you're doing?
My email, and I suppose my website, because then they can just contact me through there, is my name, jillcole.org.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you.
So this was great, and for those of you who are watching, Jill and I did 12 sessions many years ago. I guess we started in 2020 or 2021. I don't remember. 2020.
5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. And we put out a book of those 12 sessions in a book called The Discourse. It is, you can get it through Amazon. You can get it on Kindle if you want to read it on your Kindle. And it also is on Audible with all of these sessions. And if you go to my playlist on my channel, you could see 10 of those there. There's a lot of information in the discourse. The discourse is a book that you don't need read from cover to cover. You could basically just open it anywhere. It's a question and answer. So each chapter has different things, and each chapter does go over a lot of the things over and over again, because that's how I do my work. I keep asking the same questions.
I'm
So
just I'm just opening for this little doggy. Okay, go on. Sorry.
And Jill is located in New Zealand, in Wanaka, New Zealand, and that's the background that she has there right now.
Here you go. It's a beautiful
So,
day.
yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll catch you on the next video. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.